Welcome back. I've got Nick Michels online. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. You do a lot of great work and help a lot of people, so that's why I wanted to have you on the show. So why don't you share a little bit about you, and then we're going to jump into this very important conversation.
Absolutely. Mike, I get that a lot. Talk a little about yourself, Nick. Tell us what you do. I think the most important thing is understand who I am and where I come from. I mean, understand my why, like why I love what I do. And I really do. I'm lucky. I'm one of those people that love what I do. But you have to go back to my childhood. I mean, I was just a kid. I was in the mid 90s. I was 10 years old. We actually lived a pretty good life. My dad was an entrepreneur, owned several businesses. We were fortunate that my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, like I said, we were lucky. I didn't even know what money was. I just knew, hey, we had a pretty good life. But then it happened, and Mike, it's one of those things where it's one of those moments in your life where your life will never be the same. Because I remember it like it was yesterday. My mom walked into my room, put her arm around me, and said, "Your dad and I are getting divorced." And I didn't know the impact of that time, but my life changed overnight. I mean, my mom went from a stay-at-home mom of four boys to a single mom of four boys working three jobs just to survive. And here's the thing, my dad struggled too. I mean, like I said, our lives completely changed. It was at a very young age I quickly realized how much money greatly influences your life, either for good or for bad. I mean, we went from a real big house to a tiny house on the other side of town. That good life I was telling you about to, I mean, literally, my mom said, "Hey, go get all this spare change and money around the house because we're gonna need it." And I honestly, I think that struck a fire within me. I mean, seeing that, living that, and that's kind of why I do what I do because it was the physical and emotional pain and toll it took on my mom and my brothers and me seeing that I don't want you or any part of your family ever to go through that. And so that's why I do what I do. And I love it because the impact that we can make on other people's lives.
It's important work, and
Mm,
no one wins in a divorce. It just
mm,
it's a horrible thing to go through. I've been through it
mm,
myself.
okay.
Wouldn't wish it upon anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But on the you mentioned something a moment ago about the lesson from it. It's like, okay, all right, let's go get that spare change. Let's redefine what is important to us and what we
Mm-hmm.
need, and then determine, okay, borrowing from Brian Tracy, okay, write down our goals. Where do we want to be? What do we want to do? What's our financial goals? How much money do we want to earn? What do we want to be able to do? Okay, where are we at right now? Okay, connect the dots. And
That's it.
just one step at a time, one moment at a time. Then you look back and go, wow, look how far I've come along. And you go, well, how did that happen? Well, just by taking the steps and remembering to breathe occasionally along the way. That's a very important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that breathing is an autopilot thing for us. Because if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure 95% of the population would be passed out on sidewalks everywhere because, oh no, Jim forgot to breathe again. So it happens all the time, but it's so important. And
Mm-hmm.
so you go from there, you go from that
Mm-hmm.
situation to not really understanding what money is to understanding, oh boy, this commodity thing is a big thing in people's lives that allow us to pretty much do whatever we want to do or and things that we
Mm-hmm.
need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go from there? And obviously, you went into, this industry and, built a career from it and, helped so many people with it. What was
Mm-hmm.
that transition like? Because obviously, your life changed forever on that point. And was there a particular moment you decided, okay, I don't want to ever have to deal with this again? You mentioned you don't want anybody else to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that you were talking to yourself as well on that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because when you go through that experience in life and you go from a certain point to another point, you absolutely know what you don't have. And the other side of the tracks is a better place to live. It was right around 16 years old when this happened. It was a wonderful moment, another moment in my life that opened my eyes. And I worked at a golf course. There's nothing attractive. I took out the trash. I washed golf carts. I picked golf balls off the driving range. But for whatever reason, the owner, his name was Rex, and he wasn't what you would think a golf course owner would look like. I mean, this guy was a blue collar. He actually bought the land and was out there on a tractor designing the course himself with people he hired. Like that doesn't, in my world, that doesn't happen a lot. Um, but he took me aside and he taught me about money. And I remember it. He taught me about compounding interest. We'd play a game called Who Wants to Become a Millionaire. And it's so simple, right? Compound interest. But I was 16. I didn't know all the details, but he would show me, hey, take my paycheck, which I made next to nothing. But he said, hey, take a little back and put it away and invest it and it compounds. He showed me the numbers of what could be there. And I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but in my mind, it was probably millions, to a 16-year-old. But it was the point in time where I go, oh my goodness. I'm empowered. My future can be better than my past. Like you don't have to be rich to become rich. Anybody can do this and it's not hard. It's just simple things. And that really kind of propelled my life to learn one thing and then learn another and then learn another and kind of go into the business. And then I had an internship and I just got to see the effects of how you can, help people and the positive impact. And so it led me to here now. And like I said, I'm grateful for it.
Well, also on the golf course, even though you were doing all the, tidying up to make sure that the course was, in the best shape it could be and free of garbage and all of that, I'm sure you probably encountered, people that were playing, and usually, and I'm not going to make a stereotypical comment here, but
Hmm.
usually, people that are, playing on a golf course tend to have a little bit more discretionary income than a lot of other people. So, and some of them may have been, extremely wealthy, and we chase and hit this little round ball, and it never goes where we want it to go. And we say things that you don't want to say in front of kids, but we do it anyway. And but they're even if they don't say anything to you or give you, like Rex did, gave you some great advice that changed
Hmm.
your world, just being in the presence of people that have done that, there's something about that. It's like, okay, you're watching them, you're seeing how they interact with people, you see how they handle themselves, and you go, okay, that's a behavior that I want to mimic, and that's something I want to be. Okay, what do I need to do in order to do that? But that you know when people say, I don't want to pick up garbage, it's like you have no idea who you're going to encounter. Like in your
Hmm.
situation, you could have easily, teenage years, we know everything when we're teenagers.
Yes.
Sarcasm alert. I should probably put a sarcasm warning there. But we know everything when they're
Hmm.
at, and you could have said, "Well, I'm not picking up garbage," but you're obviously in a situation from what you experienced over the last previous several years. I need a job. I need to, generate some income. So
Hmm.
going there and doing something that isn't quote unquote glamorous, um, pave the way for your future. And it's like you never, if there's an opportunity, you take it, because sometimes you never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to talk to that can completely change things for you and your entire family for the rest of your lives.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's the two things that are most important, the people you meet and the books you read. I mean, those are so important. It is. And iron sharpens iron. Like you become an average of who you surround yourself with. Now, obviously, I didn't know that at a young age, but yes, in my situation, going through what we went through, you just kind of see the world and you notice things of, oh, well, that used to be our life, or I want that back. But I'll tell you this though, Mike, my life came full circle because, at a young age, 16 again, I didn't know everything. I thought it was just a money aspect. But I was wrong because when I was early on in my career, as money and wealth started to grow, my happiness wasn't directly correlated with that. I mean, there's so much more involved, and money is one indicator. But I'm here to tell people, and I write about that, is there's a lot more. Now, money is very, very important, and like you said, begin with the end in mind. Be very intentional on what you want. But it's also who do you want to become? What's the exact life? Not just hey, I want to have $1 million, or hey, I want to have 5 million, or hey, I want to have 10 million, whatever that number is. But is what specific life will that give you? What will you do with that life? Because that's really where the happiness and joy. Who do you want to spend that life with? So that's one area I had to learn and and I'm still learning today, but really my evolution was when I became young in the business world. I still had to learn that, hey, it's not just money, which I thought it was. Because when I was younger, I was just like, oh, it's money. But then when you get that and your wealth grows, your happiness is not going to go along with it. There's a lot of other things that you need to do. And that's really important as well, because you and I probably both know a lot of people who have a lot of zeros and a lot of commas in their bank account, but they're not happy. And that breaks my heart. It really does. So there's a combination of both qualitative and quantitative. What that means are, hey, understanding what's going to make you happy, who's going to make you happy, and then the money definitely goes along with it.
Yeah, I think about people all the time that are, like you said, they're, you know, well taken care of. They've done
Hmm.
things the right way, maybe, like some, opportunities that worked out well and all of that stuff. And some of them are top of the world. They live and enjoy every second of life. And there's others that are, in the same situation that are just miserable. They don't, they're just disengaged about everything. Like, and you go,
Hmm.
okay, where's the disconnect? What happened? Why did you go from in the work that I do with people that are burned out and toxic workplaces and all of that? I ask
Hmm.
people, it's like, okay, when you applied here and you got hired, what was that like? What did you feel like? I was ecstatic because I could do this, this, and this, this. Okay, what happened? What changed? Was it something internal at the organization? Life changes? What there was a pivot somewhere that happened,
Hmm.
and it may or may not be related to the job. And I see that a lot where, the external things or things happening at home, all of a sudden they get disgruntled because, well, I need to bring in more money because I'm a caregiver now and this job won't pay me enough. But, well, prior to that, did it pay you enough? Oh, yeah, I had a great life. Okay. Well,
Hmm.
then that's when you work with advisors that can kind of guide you and give you some ideas as to, okay, what can we do when it comes to this? Especially if you're a caregiver, there's usually resources out there that can help with that, depending on the state, locale, you name it. There's so many different things, but
Hmm.
a lot of people just immediately think I can't get help on this. I'm like, I think you can. And when it comes to managing money, it's never too late to improve things. You could be in your 70s. Now, of course, raising $1 million off of Social Security benefits, good luck unless you're a really good stock
Hmm.
trader. Even then, that could be risky. But ultimately, it boils down to just figuring out you're happy. What makes you happy? And for some people, it could be, working, that, CEO role, making whatever they make and having all
Hmm.
kinds of things. And there could be other people. It's like, you know what? I have this little cottage on the lake. I love going there on the weekends. Sometimes I fish. Sometimes I just sit on the deck and I just stare out at the water and listen to nature. And I'm happy with that. And I make $50,000 a year and all my bills are paid and I wouldn't change a thing. Where other people go, 50,000, I can't, I wouldn't be able to eat on that.
Hmm.
And I'm not judging. It's everybody
Hmm.
has their own flavors and desires and tastes, and that's awesome. That's what makes this world amazing. There's so many of us that have so many different needs, but it boils down to, again, understanding, okay, what do you want out of life? What do you need to have from a currency unit aspect to live that life? And if you're not there, what do you need to do it? Because guess what? We thankfully live in a land that allows you to, grow and do things as much as you want.
Hmm.
The only limitation is you, quite frankly.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about finance and love about what we do is because everybody's uniquely different in a wonderful way. And it's figuring out what makes you happy. You hear these stats, which breaks my heart. Since social media, levels of depression have gone up. And why? Because no one puts their credit card statement on Facebook. People take the pictures of their vacations and going out to expensive dinners. And so people look at that and they have that keeping up the Joneses, that envy syndrome. But the interesting thing is, if you get really clear and understand about what makes you happy, who makes you happy, you're not going to be chasing that. You're going to know, hey, what makes you happy, and then you can align your finances with that, your core values. And that's what I love. That everyone, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, hey, what's going to make you happy? What's the lifestyle? Okay, great. What is that going to cost? Because a lot of people get caught up in, oh, I need this or that, when really that's not going to increase their joy. And then once you understand, hey, what's going to make you happy, then you can go to the next step and go, hey, how much money do I need? Where do I need to be financially where I can live that life and live the life that I want forever and never have to worry about anything else? It's sustainable. So I couldn't agree with you more. And that's what I love and kind of makes Rich by Choice, my book, a little bit different because the first part is taking someone on a journey. First understanding, hey, let's get specific, not just, hey, I want to retire. What does that life look like? What are you doing on a Tuesday afternoon? Let's get detailed. What kind of vacations are you taking? Who's in your life? And then you can build money strategies to give you that life because it's not a one size fits all. And different isn't a bad word. It's okay to be different, to want different things. What makes you happy is you. Go do it. God bless you. And that's what I love.
Mhm. Yeah, it's important. I had a conversation several years ago with somebody on the show, and one of the things that they help people do and encourage people to do, they said, we're going to practice retirement, which means it's like, okay, and he works with them. It's like, I need you to save up a month's worth of income that you think you'll need. The key
Mm-hmm.
word there is think,
Mm-hmm.
in order to take a month off of work, work with your employer, save up your vacation time, or maybe even go unpaid for a month if they'll do it, and take
Mm-hmm.
a month off and not work. And do this, not close to retirement, but whenever it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And sit with that. What does that feel like? I talk to people all the time. I had a conversation earlier today with somebody that retired about 6 months ago from corporate. What did they do? They launched their own consulting business. They're working with people and all that stuff. So, um, that's not the Wikipedia definition of retirement, but I like what you're doing. I'm not judging, it's just an
Mm-hmm.
observation. Retirement used to mean don't work, but then I think of my late dad, he retired and then, went to do work part-time doing something he absolutely enjoyed doing. And it's like, yeah, just because you retire doesn't mean you need to stop. But some
Mm-hmm.
people want to. Some people are like, I am done. And they get the little boat and they park at the marina pub, and that's where they spend their days, and everybody knows them by the first name, and they are the poster child for suntanned, and they're living their life. They're happy go lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're a little too opinionated, but that's okay. It works for me. But again, and you said this a few times, you have to figure out you. And one of the things that I encounter when I'm dealing with people that are burned out or toxic
Mm-hmm.
workplaces and things like that is how many people truly don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, what's your goals? And they kind of look at you like, it's like, this isn't a pop quiz. I'm asking you about you, the
Mm-hmm.
person you spend 100% of your time with.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, I don't know. And I'm sure you encounter that a lot with people when you're asking them, okay, well, what are your financial goals? And it's like you hit them with the Men in Black pen, and they're just gone. They can't think of anything. They probably couldn't even name, who's on the $5 bill at that point. They're just like, it's like, okay, but because we get so lost in living that we don't actually spend our time living. We get distracted and we
Mm-hmm.
focus on so many different things, which again, being distracted, that's, an appetite for some financial challenges because you may not make the best decisions on things and just say, yeah, just get this. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need this new car, but I like that car, so let's go ahead and get it. And you're like, there's really nothing wrong with your other car, but okay, everybody wants what they want, but
Mm-hmm.
understand the cause and effect of things. And I think if more people would actually just take a step back and go, okay, is this alignment with my financial plan? And if they have a financial plan, that tends to help mitigate against making some questionable decisions, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. It does. And you know what? I can't blame people because just think about it, we live in a world where technology is in abundance and comes at you fast. I mean, every chapter of life's coming at you fast. That most people are thinking about the here and now and they're thinking about the past. And not many people they stop to really take the time to think about the future. And when they do, like I said, it's very short in the sense of, hey, I want to retire, hey, I want X amount of money, but they don't really carve out. And I love the month of pre-retirement, which is tough. You know, we do exercises with families that we serve to get them to think about that and what's going to make them happy. And then we also have exercises because a lot of people, like you just said, oh, I don't know what makes me happy. Well, in the book, it's called The Happiness Island. Like, think back in your life where you were happy. What were you doing? Who were you with? What season of life were you in? Because really start to think about those things and start to write them down to give you a good idea of, hey, what is going to make you happy? And then the reason why is there's a cost associated with everything. Not good or bad, just a cost. And you just want to make sure, hey, what's called capital needs analysis, how much money do I need to cover that cost for the rest of my life? So I think you're exactly right. And what's great is once you do these things and you start to really understand who you are and learn about yourself and start peeling back the layers of the onion, um, you start to realize what's really important to you. And what's great is a lot of other stuff can roll off your shoulders and you don't have to worry so much and you know kind of where you're going. And then you kind of focus on that. And a lot of the other noise in life, which happens, you don't pay attention too much. And it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a nice built-in filter. It's not, you're not sticking your head in the sand, but
Hmm.
you're staying close to, the goal at in mind and just, really trying to focus on things. So I want to get back to your book before we wrap things up. So, and
Hmm.
you mentioned a moment ago, like the beginning of the book is kind of, what you had mentioned, but let's talk a little bit more about the book. And, I always ask authors this one. It's like, why in the world would you give up so much of your life to write a book? Because it is time consuming to do those things. So, yeah, so feel free to share that and, anything else you'd like from the book.
Absolutely. My wife jokes with me because I get these ideas. I'm like, hey, babe, I got this great idea. And she's like, oh, great. Because I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, we can do this. And only take a few days. And then because she's more smarter than I am, obviously, and knows the impact it's going to take. But like I said, the book is different. And that's what I love about it because the first part's helping you understand your strengths and weaknesses, who you are, who's important to you, but then getting detailed on that. And then it helps with the financial strategies of aligning, hey, this is the life I want, this is what I need to do. And I think that's wonderful. So all the things that we discussed today, it helps you do that and to get a clear understanding of, hey, this is where I'm at now, this is where I want to be. Also, too, it helps you understand who you are, strength and weakness, and also your money psychology. We're all completely different. We grew up and raised by different parents in different, areas, in different themes or what's going on around the world when we were raised that absolutely affects us today. It's just who we are, but understanding that because we all could be making money mistakes that are hurting us along the way. So that's what I love about it. And the goal is, hey, like I said, someone did this for me when I was 16 years old. And my goal is, hey, if I can give 1 ounce of hope and just one strategy and you build from there, then wonderful. That's what it is. And so, I get this question a lot, like, who's the book for? Well, the book is really essentially for everyone. It's won several awards, it's doing very well, but that's fun. But what really great is the success stories. Whether it's the single mom, where it's like the empty nest pay raise, where if you're a single parent, my mom was a single mom. There's not a lot of breathing room. Well, there's a budget, exercise in there that helps you create breathing room and then gives you a strategy of how you can build wealth at a different stage in life after the kids leave home, all the way up to what you talked about. We have a lot of clients who have a lot of money and they sold a business or built this next egg. And guess what? It's not as fulfilling as they thought. And then they have to realign and assess and find out their purpose on how do they use that money to give their life meaning and live the life they want. So, and then everything in between, the families that are growing and life is coming at them fast. And so that's what's fun. So that's what's been exciting. And we really love that.
Yeah, it's an important book, and I highly encourage everybody pick up a copy of it and go through the exercises to figure out who you are because it will help you along your journey. And if you have a better understanding of your own values, what's important to you, and even that exercise you mentioned before when you ask about, think of a time when you were just absolutely happy. What was the surroundings? Get as granular as you can because then you go, okay,
Hmm.
if one of those pieces could you do today, and it may not make you happy,
Hmm.
now because it might you just may have different interests. I don't know, but it gets you back in connection to thinking about that in your brain, going, okay, I remember this feeling. I like this feeling. Okay, what do I need
Hmm.
to do now or get to get that feeling again? So, Nick, I've loved this conversation. Where can
Yeah.
people find out more about you, the book, and everything else you're doing?
Yeah, this is great. I got one last thing. Like I said, I want to leave everyone
Please,
with a free gift. It's a
awesome.
free resource, and this is where you can find. If you go to www.richbychoicebook.com, richbychoicebook.com, right there on the head display screen, you're going to see free gift. Type in your email address. I'll send you a PDF, and it's a chapter called Compounding. It's called Compounding by Choice. But what I love about it is when you think about compounding, you're probably thinking interest, money, right? Well, here's the thing, and this is wonderful, and I this changed my life in a wonderful way. Everything in your life is compounding right now.
Mhm.
Everything in your life, every area, every relationship, everything, business, money, health and wellness, everything is compounding. It's either compounding for good or bad. And this takes you through an exercise to understand, hey, if right now, if you're dealing with marriage issues, relationship issues, money issues, business issues, whatever life issues, it is going to give you simple strategies to start taking action. Here's the thing, I'll leave you with the stat that APA said that 90% of Americans right now are stressed about money. 70% are extremely stressed about money. And that's the thing is if you start taking small actions, that stress starts to dwindle down because you're on your way. Now, will you be where you're at overnight? No. But once you start taking those simple actions, those steps of getting to where you are, not just with money, but in life, all of a sudden joy, freedom, security, hope, confidence starts to come back. So I want to leave you with that free gift. And we've had so many success stories, and it's a wonderful chapter. And it's my gift to you. So go there, enjoy it. And like I said, I hope and pray that it helps you in that area of life. And I just God bless.
Well, I really appreciate that, and we'll definitely have all that information in the show notes. So, Nick, thank you again for being you and for this amazing time today. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Bye, everybody.